Mm. Okay. Mm. All right. Thank you so much for joining. I see quite a few people coming on. And today we want to just talk about the culture of selfishness and the nation. And when we're talking about this, I'm talking specifically about Nigeria. So I will be interested in knowing some of your experiences. So we have the option as well to allow you to join the broadcast if you might be interested in doing so. But here's what I want to talk about today. Many of us are complaining that, Nigeria is not working. Things are difficult. The government is not delivering on. I was going to say the government is not delivering on their promises, but I also realized that the government did not make any promises. So let's talk a little bit about the culture of selfishness and what impact it has on the nation. Now, what is selfishness? What are we talking about? We're talking about being self-centered, meaning everything revolves around me. And to be very honest with you, that has been one of the challenges that we face as a nation. The reason why Nigeria is not, or the reason why Nigeria is where it is today is because of that culture of being self-centered in everything that we do. Let's look at this from an everyday experience. Now, think about this, for instance. We are an oil-producing nation. Nigeria is an oil-producing nation, but we do not have fuel. We do not have gasoline. So people spend long hours in line just waiting to get gas just for them to move from point A to point B. But the fuel attendants are more interested in selling fuel to individuals who will pay them more. They're more interested in putting fuel, rather than in vehicles, they're more interested in putting fuel in tanks and cans from folks whom they can charge more, and those folks will pretty much just line up the entire road and be selling adulterated fuel in all kinds of containers. You see, the Nigerian mindset is that as long as I have mine, everybody else can pretty much just, it's okay as long as I get something out of it. And unfortunately, that is the same mindset that has permeated every level of interaction. So go to the highest level. Who are the individuals we see in government? They leverage the same culture of self-centeredness. Those in government go in there because they are just looking for a platform to enrich themselves individually, to get something out of the system, not because they really care about the people. Now, we do have one or two or three people who are out there trying to make a difference. But when you're alone, you are just a voice. You cannot bring or make a change or make a difference by yourself. We're a nation. Nigeria is about the size of the state of Texas, the entire nation of Nigeria. Let me ask this question. Why do we need 36 states? 36 states in such a small geographical location. Why? Because everybody is all about what they can get for themselves. Now, you begin to wonder, what is the underlying factor that drives all of this? Simple. Tribalism. We've become so engrossed in our minds. All we think about is me and mine. And so those people who are in authority today just say, all they just have to do is come to the polling stations, give out 1,000 naira, bags of gari, bags of whatever it is that they need to give to you, because folks there are more interested in immediate gratification. What can I get for myself now? Because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Those who come into government are only interested in doing things that they can get during the tenure that they're in office. So if it is a 2-year tenure, it's a 4-year tenure, the only thing they're interested in doing are the things that they can do that will pay them off while they're still there. Now, that mindset has pretty much permeated every aspect of our culture, and that is why it is not working. Now, let me give you an example. You now say, okay, we want to see a change in government, right? Great. But who are the people that are going to put the new folks in office? The same people whose mindset is focused on themselves. So all they will be thinking about is, okay, I'm going to vote for A, or I can vote for B. I know B is not good for me, but B is willing to give me 5,000 naira today. So I am willing to sell the next 4 years of my life based on the 5,000 naira I can get now. Not caring that even though A refused to settle but has a vision for the future. The culture of self. So when we have folks in government, all they're thinking about is how to enrich themselves and their families. All they're thinking about is what they can get for themselves. Do you know where that is coming from? That is disorderliness that started from the top, but simply because it also exists at the bottom. We can't accuse our leaders of what we are not. We are exactly a reflection of who they are. As a matter of fact, they are only magnifying it. The reason why we complain is because when it stops working. Now think about this for a moment. How far would 5,000 naira go for you to sell your vote for the next 4 years? Look at Nigeria, for instance. We got independence in the year 1960. So Nigeria is a 58, this year will be 58 years old as a nation. And yet, we cannot even brag of something as simple as a national airline. We can't even brag of anything as simple. Have you been to the airport in Port Harcourt? Have you seen the airport in Kaduna, in Abuja? I landed at the airport in Uyo a few days ago, and I saw something that I thought was funny because the sign says something, is it Uyo International Airport? And it's just like a little kiosk standing in the corner, and it has the name International. I know that there are certain aircraft. We just do things that makes no sense. Why? Because all we think about is ourselves. I don't know who, what we need to do as a nation, but my focus is just very simple. Who can I educate today to know that in order for us to make a difference, we must change that culture of self-seeking, of being self-centered? Because that's just the truth. If you're driving down the road, yesterday I was driving down the road, and I mean this literally, somebody just almost ran into me head on. What's the problem? Because he's so much in a hurry, and the traffic, rather than staying in queue and drive straight, he just had to just swerve out because he's in a hurry to get somewhere. Self-centeredness. People can't even stay in queues. The concept of staying in a queue is it's like it's foreign. All right. So, and our leaders understand that. They understand that, and so they leverage it. They take advantage of it because they know the average Nigerian is only interested in what he can get now. It's not, there is no sense of responsibility. There is no willingness or thought about the better good of the nation or the future of, or the prosperity of our nation. Everybody is more interested in what can I get now. That culture of being selfish, that culture of just thinking about myself, me, myself, and I, what can I get now, is exactly what has brought us to where we are today. How many of us are willing to do something to make a change? How many of us are willing to say, hey, you know what? I am willing to pass it. In fact, think about this. That is part of the reason why nobody wants to take the lead. I remember back in the day, when I was in college, we were protesting something. I can't remember exactly what it was that we were protesting. And many of what we call our student union leaders were all like, oh, we're going to go out, we're going to challenge the system, we're going to confront the authorities. And yeah, so we all went out. But you know, the closer we got to where the policemen were, we realized that we were standing by ourselves. So that fear of reprisal is also another reason why people tend to just want to take the back seat. Nobody wants to take risks. Nobody wants to take a chance. Nobody wants to be the one up front, because a lot of times you'll be left by yourself. So our tradition, our culture makes it difficult for us to be able to stand up and do the right thing. Because, you know, you don't want to be the one that is snitching on anybody. You know, you don't want to be the one who is standing up against other people. You know, what is it for me or my own people? Where in the world, now think about this, where in the world do people rotate leadership? Okay, why don't we come up with a system where the best and most qualified run for office? It doesn't matter if it's at the local government council or if it's at the presidency. Why do we have to do a rotation? Why does it have to be north, south, east, south, 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 west, west, west? Why do we do that? It makes no sense. It just simply shows how backward we are. And our leaders know that. They know that, you know, in order to keep these people quiet, there's a concept that the Romans used back in the day. You know what the Romans will do? When they realized that the masses were making a lot of noise, they decided to build the Colosseum, and they brought gladiators to fight and create entertainment for them, give them things to talk about. And so while they're busy talking, the elite are just living their lives. Gladiators, where do those gladiators come from? From the masses, the poor people, the slaves. They bring them, they kill themselves, and they become entertainment for the masses, while the rich are just living their lives and moving on. What kind of entertainment have they created for us? What has gotten us to that point where we cannot see past our noses anymore? Simple, because the culture of self-centeredness has become a part of who we are. You know, many of you will stand today and be complaining, oh, Nigeria is not working, things are hard and all of that. But the day you get your own piece of the pie, you become quiet. It breaks my heart, and here's the truth. I was talking to somebody recently, just a few days ago. I reached out to somebody who I knew was passionate about this nation. But this person has just about, I think last year, was given a political appointment. And I reached out to this person concerning my dissatisfaction with what's going on in the nation. And this person began to explain away every single point that I had to say. Every single one. And I just looked at it and I shook my head. It wasn't because I was disappointed about it wasn't because of what the person said. It was more about the fact that, wow, so now you've gotten your own piece of the pie, so you're okay with it. It's just a culture of self-centeredness. So in order for us to see change in a nation, in order for Nigeria to emerge, become what it needs to be, we must be willing to pay a price. And that price includes not even standing with your own people. You know, we have to go beyond the borders of tribalism. We need to go beyond the borders of ethnicity. We need to go beyond all these things that has kept us back. You know, we must get to that point where we're truly engaging based on the fact that we want to see a nation that is prosperous, a nation that is united, a nation that is successful. And in order for us to do that, we must become Nigerians, not Yoruba, not Hausa, not Igbos, not Niger Delta, not South. Everything we have is ours, and in order for us to become a strong, vibrant nation, we must put aside our differences and stand with a unified front. So let me just put this to you. Look at the most successful nations in the world. Look at every successful nation in the world, from the United States down to any other nation you can think about that has made progress. They put aside those differences. You'll never hear somebody saying, oh, in order for you to run for the president of the United States, you have to be from, a certain part of the country. Or that, oh, this time it's the Midwest turn. So you have to be from Nebraska to run for... No, nobody does that. We look for the most qualified. The most qualified have to be given the platform to make a difference. Some of the brightest minds in this nation are not speaking simply because it is not their turn. Why? Because we're very, very self-centered in everything that we do. Look, we have so much potential. We have so much to offer. We have so much that we can give. We have so much that we can offer not only to our people as a nation, but we have so much to offer the world. Nigerians are some of the brightest human beings on earth today. Nigerians are some of the most innovative, some of the most industrious, some of the smartest people in the world today. But the only difference is that our own home has alienated us from the opportunity to maximize our potential. So let me put it out to you today. How many of you watching me right now will be willing to do one of two things? Put everything you have on the line so that we can make a difference. And that includes getting past stomach infrastructure and focusing more on the things that we need to succeed. How many of you will say, I am unwilling to accept a bribe in order for me to do the right thing? We need to change our culture. It starts by simply, when you're driving down the road, for God's sake, don't even get me into whole driving culture. That's a whole different ball game on its own. But we must get to that point where my immediate gratification is put aside for the better good of the entire nation. Can we start thinking that way? Because as long as we remain self-centered, as long as all we are thinking about is me, myself, and I, as long as all we're thinking about is what I can get right now, then forget about the future of this nation. How can we be a 58-year-old nation and we don't even have roads? I mean, we have governments coming out and being proud, showing it on social media and on TV, that they have, that they're building a road. All you see is just dirt. Who builds dirt roads in the 21st century? And that is an accomplishment, and we'll be hailing them. Why? Because they've given each person 5,000 naira. This makes no sense. Why do we function like that? So I just wanted to, if it is just one person that can get what I'm saying, let's get past that point of what is it for me and start thinking about Nigerians for once. Let's start thinking about us collectively as a nation. And once we begin to do that, things will begin to change. You see, we are saying we want to see change in leadership, but that change in leadership begins with changing that culture of self-centeredness. Meaning, when you go into that polling booth, you should be willing to vote your values. You should be willing to vote what you believe in. You should be willing to vote for somebody who has articulated their vision. Many of you are just voting based on party lines. In America, for instance, the most powerful people in any political season are a group of people called the independents. Meaning, they are not ideologues. They are not driven by party politics. They are not driven by whatever affiliations that they have, but they are driven by the issues. The people that you are planning to vote for in 2019 or 2023 or 2027 or 2031, whenever it is, ask yourself, what are their values? What are they offering us? What is their vision? What is the roadmap that they are offering to the people of the nation? What is their track record? What have they done in the past? How can we trust this person to deliver? If all of those questions can be answered by the individual's manifesto, if you can be satisfied with the fact that this person has something that has a future for the nation, then by all means support them. Throw your weight behind them. Put the work into it. Nigeria is not going to change. You see, it's so funny. Everybody's saying, we want change, we want change. But tell the same people who want change now to come out and support you or stand with you. None of them will show up because they'll tell you that they have a barbecue to go to. Or they have, Man U is playing in the evening. That time is not working for them. And yet the same person is complaining. So I just want to just think about this. Think about this. You see, we may not be able to change a nation of 70 million people all at once, but maybe 17 of us can change our minds. Maybe 20 of us can change the way we behave. Maybe 170, maybe 1.7 million. So please, 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 we can't do this by ourselves. We need you to be engaged. And in order for us to be engaged, we need everybody on board. So thank you once again. I just wanted to just come out and talk to you today and just share a bit of my heart with you. And I hope that this will be beneficial in helping you focus, in doing what needs to be done. All right. So thanks once again. And I hope that you all have a lovely weekend here. God bless you.